I am Counselor Dee Knutson, and I would like to call our weekly informational together today, Tuesday, May 27th, 2008. And again, of course, we're meeting on Tuesday because of the Memorial Day weekend that we just passed. And we will start with our staff report from Deborah Owen, please.
Good afternoon, Sioux Falls City Council. Not much to report today, just to remind everybody that the Land Use Committee that is normally scheduled following the informational today has been canceled. So it should be a shorter day. But also, if I may take a moment to remind those that you can begin to absentee vote. Absentee voting is now available at both of the counties for the June primary, just to remind those to get out and vote. Thank you.
Deborah, thank you for that reminder. I do think it's very important for our citizens to get out and vote on Tuesday, June 3rd. We'll go ahead and run through our committee reports at this point, and we'll start with Audit Committee. And Councilor Costello, could you help us on that one?
No report.
All right. Fiscal Committee, Councilor Costello.
We'll meet next Monday afternoon after the information meeting, June 2nd, I should say, not next. Yeah, that is next Monday. And we'll talk about the cell phone stipend.
Thank you. Land Use Committee, Councilor Litz.
I have no report, but I believe we meet after this at 5 o'clock. Oh, well, I just found out it was canceled.
So you have a shorter day, Councilor Litz, to get some lawn work done. Is Public Services Committee, Councilor Brown.
No report.
Okay. City Council open discussion. Councilor Brown.
One item of information. I was at the Asian cat exhibit opening at the zoo on Saturday, and in the hour and a half that they had the doors open, they had 2,300 people come through. Yeah. So there was a huge crowd there. I had to park at Sherman Park and walk over. So
wonderful.
Well attended.
Wonderful. I was hoping that had gone well. We were out of town for the weekend, and but it was such a nice article about the new exhibit in the link from the Argus Leader. So anyway, also under open discussion, Councilor Costello and Deborah Owen and I, and of course others too from the administration, just came from the Senator Johnson's subcommittee meeting on energy and water and energy. I'm not saying the committee name right, but anyway, Deborah or Pat, would either one of you have anything you'd like to share about our hearing that we sat in on?
I think it was the subcommittee on water and power, and it was Senator Johnson's the chairman, and Senator Tester from Montana was there. Both heard testimony from Mayor Munson, Troy Larson, and 3 representatives of Native American tribes and the director of the Minnewachuny project. All pled for more funding by the Bureau of Reclamation for the projects in South Dakota. We are in the Midwest region, which encompasses South Dakota, North Dakota, and Montana. I believe there's 3 projects in South Dakota, 2 in Montana, and 1 in North Dakota, all of which need funding and all of which got zeroed out.
Deborah, would you have anything you'd like to add to Councilor Costello's comments?
No, I just thought it was great to have someone from the Bureau of Reclamation there to talk and explain as to how those projects got zeroed out, and to talk a little bit about the possibility of future funding.
I thought it was well attended, and it was wonderful to have them come to our city for the hearing. And again, those 6 projects from the Northern Great Plains projects that are in progress that Councilor Costello just mentioned. The total price tag at this point is $1.315 billion. But anyway, it was an interesting discussion. So anyway, and so then just a couple other just quick reminders during open discussion is I think you all read an email recently from Sandy in the health department, and about the city is going to go ahead with another, I'm sure, successful 4th of July parade and picnic at Falls Park, and the food itself will be served from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. But I know that the organizers are looking for more volunteers to help with the 4th of July family picnic and parade. And so if any of you out there listening to this have any interest in participating, let Sandy friends at the health department know, or I'll be happy to pass your names along also. And then also another reminder for some of you who might have a little free time this Friday afternoon from 3 to 5 p.m. is that there will be the third meeting of the McKinnon Park anniversary project that, again, that will take place August 8th, 9th, and 10th. I think I have those dates right. And anyway, and so this Friday there is the third meeting on that topic, and we are looking for more city councilors and more citizens to step forward and help us with that fun project. And any other open discussion by any of the rest of you? Okay. Oh, yes, Councilor Litz.
One note, I would like to report that the Event Center Listening Task Force had met 5 times last week in the community centers, and it was attended by a large amount of people who were on the task force, as well as some of the local residents who came in, and we had varied responses. I think that some people said that they were not aware of it until the last few minutes, and I guess I don't know how to reach out to more people to get them to attend those things. Some of them were from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think obviously a lot of people work, and the one from 6 to 8 were better attended. But I would look forward to more of those type of meetings, and I would like the general public to know that if they are interested and they have a group that is interested in hearing some information about it and putting their own opinions forward, that if they contact the eventcenter.com, was it eventscenter.com, and contact the people who are putting it on, I'm sure they would be glad to accommodate you.
Okay. And again, Councilor Litz and Councilor Costello, we do appreciate your efforts on that newly formed task force. And again, I do think that your with people's busy schedules, I think that's a good reminder, Councilor Litz, that citizens who have opinions about our plan to build an event center yet in the near future, I hope, can contact us and contact the city, but particularly the task force at, I think it's eventcenter@siouxfalls.org. Is that, I think that, events, plural, yes, thank you, and the word event has to be, is plural, so eventcenter@siouxfalls.org, is that correct? I
believe it is.
Okay, and so, and I think that, in the very first couple of days that we had received over 30 emails, and I know I received a couple emails on the topic this weekend, and I forwarded them to our representatives on the task force. So anyway, we're looking for input. This is a very inclusive project, but we need people to step forward now and not say later, well, you didn't ask us. We are asking you. We want your help. So anything else for open discussion? Okay, then we're going to move to our staff report, which is the monthly financial update by Jean Rowenhorst, our Director of Finance. Thank you, Jean, for being here.
Thank you, Jean Rowenhorst, Director of Finance for the City of Sioux Falls. You should have received about Monday or Tuesday hard copies in your mailbox of the financial report, and then you got an electronic copy, I believe, on Thursday. So hopefully everyone received it and had an opportunity to review it. Actually, it's kind of quiet. Not a lot going on. One of the things we wanted to point out to you, out of our $110 million budget, we're a third of the way through the year, and we've spent 31% of the budget. So it would seem that we're probably pretty much on track. There's really nothing of any excitement going on. Sales tax, that is a little bit different. When you look on page 3 of the sales tax, this is probably the most excitement, and hopefully it's undue excitement. You'll see that we're actually down 6% year to date on the sales tax received. Now, if you look at the numbers, though, looking at last year's numbers, it looks like they flip-flopped the other direction last year, and we're hoping that they flip-flopped the right way this year, and that 6% comes in okay. We also have a package ready to go for the first section of, if you recall, we're going to work with the Department of Revenue to see how our revenues, receipt of them, compare to the revenues they actually collect, and see if we can figure out why these kind of events are happening. it's clear that there's some sort of a bottleneck. I doubt that we had that kind of a decline in sales tax, and we'll have hopefully have the second check will be quite a little higher. The first check that we got in May was not all that much of an increase, although it's the first check, you can't really tell from that one either. So it's something to keep watching. Hopefully within the next couple of months we'll be able to finally come up with a credible explanation as to why these things bounce around like they do. It's just it's interesting at the least. On page 4 and 5 and 6 are all of the other funds that we have. None of those are of really any size, and there's nothing of any consequence going on in them. I don't know if anyone had any questions in reviewing those about the other funds in there or not. And then on page 7 is the 5 enterprise funds that we operate. Again, the cash flow seems to be working very well. What's going on right now with the enterprise funds is they are being reviewed, and if you recall last year, there was some discussion about getting these things in and getting the rate adjustments approved before the budget, and so that's all part of the budget. That I believe is on the agenda next week, the start of the changing the rates on the enterprise funds and updating those. So they've pretty much completed those examinations. On page 8 is the beginning of the capital improvement fund. One thing I'd just like to draw your attention to, down at the bottom of the page, $188 million in projects for this year. That's a lot of stuff going on when you're throwing around that kind of money. And so on page 8 shows you all the departments where that $188 million is coming from and what we're doing. And then pages 9 through 12 is the detailed list of the projects, again by department. So if you're looking for a particular project, they can be a little difficult to locate on here, but hopefully this helps a little bit at any rate by department, so you know which projects are on the agenda. And those pages total up to that $188 million, again, if you see also. And also take note of the the ends that are shaded in on pages 9 through 12. If they're shaded, and well, actually, if they have an N and we shade them to highlight them, those are projects that have not started yet. So we plan that there should be quite a little more information in June and July on getting these projects going. But if you recall, we're trying to deal with the issue of having projects out here that never get started, and we could have used the money somewhere else this year. It'd be a flip-flop. So, and I think the agreement was at the time, if you have a question on those, the best thing to do is email the director that's in charge of that particular area. They're going to have the details on where the project's at and what's going on with it. A lot of these that are not started yet do have to do with funding. Some of them have to do with getting right-of-ways. There's a number of reasons that could be very legitimate, but we're certainly available to answer those questions. And then pages 13 through 15 is the what we call the OSEP program, the other capital expenditures. That's just our rolling stock, police cars, fire engines, motor graders, what have you, that is part of the capital program. And you can, those are a little bit different as far as when they get started. Once we get going, we're in the process of ordering a lot of that stuff right now. And then on page 16 is probably one that is of interest to you and to draw to your attention again. This is our outstanding debt position. Right now, we've got $281 million in debt authorized. We have $230 million in debt that is outstanding. And if you look through there, a lot of this is coming in water and water reclamation are the two big ones that really are increasing our debt level, which is fine. It's the money we get at 2.5%, and we basically have a policy that if we can borrow money at 2.5%, we'll take it and use it for as long as we can. That's the same thing as letting the taxpayers of Sioux Falls borrow money at 2.5%, and I think most anybody that could get access to that rate of money would take it. And indirectly, the taxpayers do get access to that. The alternative would be we would have to not do other projects. And that, the other ones are just our appropriations and where they're at. So that completes my report. I don't know if there's any questions I can answer. Like I say, it's pretty quiet as from the finance standpoint as far as the current operations goes. It's not quiet in the budgeting end of things. That we're still closing that up at this point. But
Any questions, anyone here? Looks like no questions. You did such a good job with the report that we have no questions for you, so congratulations.
I love to do a job like that.
Yeah, and thank you also for your work. Okay. Oh, a couple other just very quick items I wanted to share. One, on behalf of all of the City Council and the citizens of Sioux Falls, too, I would like to publicly thank Gary Colwell for serving as our city attorney all these years. I mean, dealing with all of us and our different agendas and different personalities and so forth has to be a tricky proposition always, and we really are appreciative of your patience and efforts with us, and we wish you the very best forever. So anyway. And then another topic I forgot to mention during open discussion is the Redistricting Commission. And again, as you know, by charter, this is set up that you have, 4 people, and as been kind of set up to have bipartisan, very bipartisan nature to it, and so I had asked by the end of May if we could finish up our nominations, and if are there any new nominations today, by the way, before I finish my little chat here on this topic? Okay, this is our situation, is that we have 2 Republican nominees that actually I've recruited, and they are Joel Rosenthal and Vance Goldammer. And then and then on the other side of the political fence, we have 4 nominees, all I'm sure excellent nominees, but we only have 2 slots. And so I might need some input from some of you now or later on how you want to handle that. Just a reminder, again, it's a fairly time-consuming project, is my understanding. I've not served on it myself, but I assume all of those of you who have nominated people have checked with the people and that they have adequate time to do a good job with this project. Again, it doesn't happen very often that we need a districting commission. But again, the nominees on the other side right now are Councilor Brown has nominated Michael Cole, whom I do not know, but he can share a little bit with us about him maybe in a minute. And Councilor Anderson has recommended Roger Berggren, whom I don't think I've ever met myself, but I know the name. Was a legislative candidate a couple of years ago, and so forth. And then former Councilor Kavanaugh recommended former legislator Elaine Roberts, and also former city councilor Andy Howes. And so again, I just, we just need to somehow figure out a method soon to narrow those 4 down to 2. And I don't know if you want to vote or what you want to do on that, but for the new councilors who are on board and who have just nominated people, would you just have any thoughts right now? And again, not trying to put you on the spot, I'm just telling you this is our situation. Okay.
We could just hear a little bit about each of those people that they've nominated.
All right. Councilor Brown, would you start with Michael Cole, I believe is his name?
And I'm not really prepared to run through his qualifications. I just
Sure.
heard he had an interest and
All right.
visited with him about that, but I'd be happy to learn more about his qualifications.
Okay, and Councilor Anderson, would you like to share anything about the nominee? You suggested Roger Berggren. I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Yeah, Roger's a manager at CCC Information Services. He is a former legislative candidate, has been involved in politics for some time now, and after speaking to him several times on this issue, he has stated that he would be interested in this. I think what a good idea might be is to, you have the contact information on these individuals?
Well, I guess the contact information would really be our city clerk, Deborah Owen.
Okay. Maybe if we could get the contact information and contact these individuals and, see exactly how interested they are and, explain to them the time period and the constraints that this is going to take, we might be able to come up with the two that we need.
Okay, all right. Why don't some of you who are kind of involved on this process just kind of network a little bit with your nominees again, and with Deborah, please, in the near future, so we can just get this formed. And again, we very much are very appreciative of all four stepping forward to help in this way, besides the other two who were conned into helping by me. Okay, any other topics for today? It's going to be okay, then I'm going to adjourn our informational for this week, and I will see you all next Monday.